think I'll let the poems speak for themselves. This first poem is titled In Fables. In Fables, the animals are not suspicious. The deer, twice beguiled by a fox to enter the lion's den, can speak, but does not at death say, "I was suspicious." Hiking to Prophet's Rock, we join a company of gnats, disciples, small carousels at your neck, my back. When we reach the den of snakes, where the prophet promised victory to his men, where the records say he watched them fall despite his chanting from behind, we are suspicious of the wall that claims the dead were never counted. What beguiled us? Only here we find the steep path down, not back. The gnats, unlike disciples, cannot speak. They find our sweat. They think the hand that breaks their cursed procession is not my hand. Pilgrimage. If the ribcage is a labyrinth for the heart, if the saws that split cadavers hang from cords, retractable string, then the heart, like the cursed half-beast waiting at the heart, is not the first thing feared. Even the saws pulled back in dust a ribcage makes. When I reached the chapel in a house of God, empty of its smoke, when I had passed the rooms around it, the doors that opened into the rooms, the dark, the hallways straight, I still recoiled. I thought the heart was safe, that the cages meant to keep it safe could still amaze. Coax. It was easy to worship obedient things. The water that fell off their heads made pools on the floor. The shape it left changed depending on the head immersed. In the shower, I let water run down my arm, a small river, convinced I felt the first realized ache. When the river knew the shape of my arm better than the arm I knew by sight, I knew water, poured over a face, would reveal its shape likewise. When I coaxed my enemy to speak with water, when I showed how the uncoaxed thing behaves, it was always language I was after, names. I come from a town of characters, like many people do, a very small rural town. And this is a poem about one of those characters. The poem's title is Prosthetic. Damned by an amateur's gun. The buckshot that took one eye of the young watercolorist took also his genius. Therefore he taught middle school children to paint, to cut bound stock of construction paper with that flat ruled blade he feared would carve their clumsy fingers. But the brutish children who mocked him, who sat where their teacher's green prosthetic eye could not see them, were never clumsy. That day they stole ketchup and pretended to mangle their hands in the cutter. It was the teacher's bellow at the sight, and not their cunning, that made the false cries true, gave the real cry its urgent measure. The others turned from their paintings and listened. The teacher rinsed the ruined hands under the spout of running water until that red had leaked into the other discarded colors, unwashed brushes, mixed in that massive sink, stained black around the drain. The children held their hands as if they bled. No one looking knew their blood from paint. I just have two more. This poem mentions perhaps more directly my son. Not entirely, I hope. poem is Two Kingdoms. A son says, "This is my kingdom." His father sees the play, says, "This is my kingdom." Already, the son is pointing where their kingdoms meet. But where the father looks, he sees only poor in the boy's kingdom. A cemetery cleared of headstones for the poor to make gardens. A mother who pulled out bones with her potatoes, assuring her daughter the bones once made a horse. The father sees the girl assemble the bones into figures, dress them in potato skins. They are headless. They guard her kingdom. Some have shoots growing from their eyes. The father sees the mother remake the same small hole with her hands. He confuses repetition for digging. The father says, "There are only poor in your kingdom." The son forgets what kingdom means. We make a thing we marvel. We make a thing we marvel and learn to worry. Light through the red glass of a prophet's robe makes us red. We see a horse return the hour before storm in distress. We distress. The thing we make learns to marvel light. We think worry is a robe we can outgrow. In the mirror, we see our bodies without robes, distressed. It storms. The prophet marvels at the horse that spoke. Thank you.